From the time a child is born with a blood disorder to the time she becomes an older woman, we know what they go through and how can we help them at each stage. How can we address this transition so we can provide the best of care?
We were hearing stories from our patients, and women referred to us that my doctor didn't recognize this condition, or they didn't think this was a problem, or they didn't even know what I had.
We will see adult women who've had bleeding and clotting disorders all of their life and have yet to be diagnosed. Heavy menstrual bleeding, bleeding with childbirth, iron deficiency anemia. And then as they get older and may develop cardiovascular disease, that we need to know where things stand so we can help them through those procedures.
Our vision is that all women and girls with blood disorders would be appropriately diagnosed and optimally treated at every life stage. For us, that means educating hematologists, obstetrician gynecologists, and other healthcare providers so that they're able to improve the outcomes for women and girls with blood disorders.
There are providers across the country who themselves, I think, really have seen the need in care that we saw when we formed the foundation. One of the things is to develop multidisciplinary clinics, and that's been incredibly successful.
The fact that the foundation really put that multidisciplinary collaborative care as a primary measure of clinic excellence is really critical. And I think really underscores how vital that is to the care of women with blood disorders. It's not always easy, but it's so necessary and it's so important for the patients.
A lot of our patients have, resigned themselves to kind of just sitting at the side of the pool, but now we're seeing they're more involved. They join the swim team. So really just impacting their everyday lives that's what people care about.
I think the clinics have made a really big impact, both in treating conditions and diagnosing conditions, but really my biggest win is that we get kids to school more often.
I was diagnosed my sophomore year. My period started and then it never stopped. I got checked into the hospital and there was a whole process of them trying to kind of figure out what was wrong. The uncertainty was the worst. It was hard on the whole family. When I was not okay, they're not okay. When you have a concrete diagnosis, it's a lot of relief. You know you're doing the right things to treat it. You actually know what's going on with you, which it provides a sense of control that I didn't have before, and it's been really nice.
When you look at the surveys, you see more and more people thinking about bleeding disorders. And then even our most recent data, it still takes multiple years for the average woman to get the diagnosis. And so there's still a gap there. For us, we feel like the next step is to be doing a lot more research in this population, and that's really the only thing that's going to move the field forward.
What FWGBD has the power to do is, we try to do education and advocacy at our own institution, but the foundation is able to do that on a much broader scope across the nation and the world in terms of educating our emergency rooms and our OBGYN colleagues and our family practitioner colleagues.
So the greatest achievement for the foundation is that we help more girls and women get the best care, and that we have providers who really know how to care for them.
So I think of the foundation as this backbone or this platform that unites all physicians that treat women with bleeding disorders. So whenever I think about a clinical conundrum, the foundation is the first thing that comes to my mind.
What really drove me to this foundation was the passion. All of us driven to help these women by getting them, better care and diagnosis, and eventually make sure that women with all blood disorders, they're addressed. And I think the best way to do it is to train up the future leaders to carry this torch forward.